former President Rodrigo Duterte himself took responsibility for the shortcomings of his administration's shortcomings that led to the death of thousands of women. In speaking directly about the extrajudicial killings perpetrated during the war on drugs, President Duterte admitted under oath that he alone takes full legal responsibility for the actions of his subordinates who were acting under his. In other words, former president has acknowledged his role in the thousands of deaths that took his watch. He also echoed the Nanlaban narrative that was persistently used by police officers to justify deaths during supposed police operations. This admission is significant as it highlights that cases are now ripe for filing against those responsible for the extrajudicial killings during the drug war. Duterte has committed to take responsibility and face the consequences of these acts as mandated by our laws. It is now up to the proper authorities to consider this statement carefully and ascertain the criminal liability of the responsible individuals, whether under the concept of command responsibility or conspiracy. These cases could include crimes against humanity, as penalized under Republic Act number 9851, the Philippine Act on Crimes Against International Humanitarian Law, genocide, and other crimes against humanity. That's the title of the Republic Act. And other criminal laws, not to mention the potential jurisdiction of the ICC. Section 10 of RA 9851 establishes the principle of command responsibility, which holds superiors liable for crimes committed by their subordinates if they had knowledge of the crimes and failed to take necessary actions to prevent or repress them. The killings order under former President Duterte's so-called war on drugs meet all the elements of willful killing, the crime against humanity, under Section 6 of RA 98. Facts are clear. Haba ito, First, willful killings affected thousands of civilians, with the International Criminal Court estimating between 12,000 and 30,000 deaths between July 2016 and March 2019. Second, the victims were primarily civilians, suspected by police authorities to be involved in drugs. Third, these killings occurred in a widespread, systematic attack across various cities, municipalities, provinces throughout the Philippines. Fourth, these killings were executed under a state or organizational policy, namely anti-drug campaign of former President Duterte, which included a national system of rewards, this hierarchy. Duterte's admission in the Senate hearing, made spontaneously and as an admission against interest, is binding upon him. This must be recognized as evidence all present and future cases relating to the war on drugs. What we witnessed during the former president's testimony was a shocking normalization of brutality, a normalization of death, and a disregard for due process that has infected our legal institutions. Duterte's nonchalant attitude towards life itself lies at the root of the thousands of deaths during his term. His casual language, his swearing in formal proceedings, mirrors the erosion of his standards in his administration, where the value of life itself was cast aside. Nakakalungkot na hindi nare-realize ni PRRD ang consequences ng mga sinasabi niya. Carelessly worded statements posted on Facebook by a normal citizen are called rants carelessly worded statements spoken by a president are called policy. And his coarse language, his casual swearing even in formal settings, which we saw again and again yesterday in the Senate, mirrors this erosion of his standards. What we witnessed during his time in office was not just a disregard for societal norms and the standards of the office he once held. It was a disregard for human life. It was a dismissal of the processes and safeguards designed to protect the life and liberty of our kababayan. Kita ninyo, naging katanggap-tanggap ang pagmumura, ang pagpatay. Naging katanggap-tanggap, pinapalakpakan siya. Are these the values we want to pass on to our children? The recent Senate hearing also laid bare another troubling truth. It is nearly impossible to hold a fair and objective inquiry when those who should be testifying are instead influencing the very proceedings. When resource persons are faced with figures like Senator Bato de la Rosa, there is no level playing field. The environment is one of intimidation, designed to silence or steer the narrative. Any witness who dares to speak out is at risk of being bullied or dismissed. Oo, may right si Senator Bato and even Senator Go to defend themselves. That is their right. A right denied to the thousands who could not defend themselves. Senator Bato, kung talagang sila ay matatapang, kung naniniwala kayo na wala kayong kasalanan, then show some real delicadeza and appear to our hearings where your statements can be challenged and cross-examined. Mga kababayan, yesterday we also saw how the former president was given a platform to rewrite history, to gaslight the nation by justifying acts that led to the thousands of deaths. This was not a hearing in the service of truth. It was a forum for denial, for him to rationalize the indefensible. Psalms 9 to 10 reminds us, and I quote, "The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee, for thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee." End of quote. The voices of the oppressed cry out for justice. And we stand here knowing that the Lord is on the side of those who seek righteousness and truth. We will not be swayed by these tactics, nor will we be deterred from seeking accountability. We are committed to ensuring that the victims of the war on drugs receive justice. The former president may attempt to dodge responsibility, but we will work tirelessly to hold him accountable for the lives lost, the families shattered, and the trust broken under his administration. Maraming salamat.
Thank you, Chairman Abante Fernandez. Of today's first question, we'd like to recognize Ms. Moras.
Hi, good morning po, Chair Abante, Chair Fernandez. Sir, I understand may mga statement na rin po tayo kahapon denying the statements of Grijaldo. Pero just to be clear, para mas maipaliwanag lang po sa ating mga kababayan. So, may nangyari nga po bang private meeting about dun sa statement nga with Grijaldo? And ano po kaya yung reason, kung meron man, na bakit siya kailangang ipatawag in private? Si Grijaldo po.
Dahil mahaba yung sinabi mo na Chairman Abante. Unang-una talagang there was a incident na talagang pinatawag namin siya. Pero not on our own volition. Because it was Colonel Garma, as what I'm saying sa mga interview sa akin, that asked na kausapin si Colonel Grijaldo. Kasi si Colonel Grijaldo, according to Colonel Garma, is a friend of her. So, sabi namin, tama-tama, andun si Colonel Grijaldo, so tawagin na natin. So, it was at the back of the Quadcom. So, nang kinausap namin siya, sabi ko nga kay Chairman Abante, kausapin natin kasi nga kaibigan daw, siya makakapag-confirm ng mga affidavit na ginawa niya doon sa supplemental. So, what we did was, yung lawyer, sinabi namin na pumunta para in the spirit of transparency. Kasi mahirap naman na kami lang. Kasi we always see to it na dapat talagang merong kasama. As a matter of fact, yun din ang sinabi ko sa media that prior to the Quadcom hearing, nagkausap kami ni Colonel Garma. And I asked the permission of the chairman to be with me. And he accompanied me para at least transparent talaga yung usapan. Unfortunately, yung sinasabi niyang coercion and harassment, it never happened. Talagang wala namang coercion na nangyari. And ako, natatandaan ko kasi merong isang tao na naandun sa loob pa eh. Aside from the two witnesses at the two lawyers ni Garma, si chairman, saka ako, and then somebody, kilala ko sa mukha, hindi ko lang matandaan kung sino na staff yon. So, we were discussing yung I think it was number 17 na sinabi ko, ito, sabi ni Garma, makukonfirm mo daw yung sa reward system. Naku, wala po kaming alam dyan. Wala po akong alam dyan. So, pinoint ko pa yung iba, yung 1999. Tama yung sinasabi niya. Pero yung kinuers namin siya at hinaras namin siya, kasi ang coercion talagang gagamitan mo ng threat eh. Gagamitan mo siya ng force eh. Kung ginamitan natin siya ng force during that time, di ba? There was still a lot of time for him to react. Unfortunately, hindi niya yung ginawa. At the same time, we cannot do that. Alam mo, it's so unethical for the two of us not telling, yung sa mga chairman, like si Ace, si Chairman Acop, saka si Congressman Paduano, about do sa isyong yon. Kung pipilitin namin siyang magsalita. And it will be against sa ating procedure na to bet first yung mga magsasalita para at least sigurado tayo. So yun yung tunay na nangyari. But of course, mayroon din ako sinasabi na issue na yung reason kung bakit niya ginawa yon. Well, yun yung aking analysis dun sa pangyayari. Bakit nila ginagawa to against us? Well, unang-una, demolition yun. Pangalawa, it's an attack against me and against you. And most likely, they really wanted to discredit the whole of the Quadcom. And it's quite unfair, no, to all of the members of the Quadcom, especially the chairman. What happened nang invite namin with our own volition na to talk to Colonel Grijaldo because it was asked by Colonel Garma. And sa amin, yun ang nakita kong naging repercussion ng ginawa namin. But of course, in every betting that we are doing, we always see to it that there are people around.
Opo. Sorry, follow-up lang, sir, dun sa sinabi nga yung nakikita nyo itong ay demolition. Ano rin po yung masasabi nyo na paulit-ulit sinabi ni former President Duterte na subornation of perjury at sabi nga niya maghahain pa siya ng kaso about this against you po, sir. Ano pong masasabi niyo ron at bakit po ba nung meeting wala ring abogado mismo? Kasi ang nasabi niyo po ang may abogado si Garma, but po walang abogado si Grijaldo?
Kasi betting process pa lamang yun eh. Alam mo sa Kongreso, inakausap muna namin and then kapag nalaman namin na pwede nating i-validate yung mga sinasabi niya, then the lawyers will come out. So, that time, wala namang lawyer na dala si Grijaldo during that time eh. Ang may lawyer doon is si Garma. And that's the reason why we asked na kung pwede yung dalawang lawyer pumunta doon para at least transparent yung usapan. Now, kung nagsabi siya na, yes sir, kinoconfirm ko po yan, alam ko po yung reward system. And then, bring your lawyer. Yun ang namin, yun ang sistema ng procedure namin sa betting eh. Kasi otherwise, kung una pa lamang, i-coerce na namin siya. Alam namin, babalikan kami niyan. We're not like that. And you have to remember that we have a lot of evidences already. As a matter of fact, yung ating pong sinasabi natin na corroborative, na-corroborate na eh. Actually, hindi naman kay Colonel Garma nagsimula yan eh. Doon sa dalawang PDL na kinorroborate ni Jimmy Portalesa, kinorroborate ni Warden Padilla. Saka lamang dumating si Colonel Garma. Saka lang dumating si Commissioner Leonardo. So now, sinasabi ni Garma na ito, meron pang isang kaibigan ako na magko-corroborate doon sa mga sinabi ko. Well, actually, kahit wala siya, hindi nga pinag-uusapan namin. Kaya nagulat ako nang nandun lang siya, nagsasalita siya against us. Well, script nila yon eh. Bahala sila doon. Panindigan niya kung ano magiging repercussion sa kanya dahil nga, we will not take that sitting down. Of course, yung kanyang affidavit na kinores, hinaras, and under oath siya, mabigat yun. And we will do something. And this will be collective. I mean, not me, not him, but the whole of the Quadcom. Because the integrity of the Quadcom is at stake here. And we have done nothing wrong.
Sir, sorry, yung sa statement lang po ni former President Duterte about subornation of perjury, ano pong masasabi nyo doon na he even said na magfa-file siya ng case about this?
Well, ako, carry on. We will take action on that. Kung magpapile sila sa amin, then yun ang mga repercussion of the things that we are doing for the Quadcom and for the Filipino people. And if this is the way that we need to act on certain things that happen, then we will confront the issue.
Next questions from Tina Panganiban Perez of GMA7.
Sir, clarification lang. Sinabi niyo, script nila yon. Kanino po?
Kung nag-affidavit siya doon, tapos, well, actually, sa totoo lang, kaya ako nasabing script yan. Alam niyo kung bakit? Kasi nga, during the time of our investigation, yung kay Colonel Andulan, yung sa issue nung namatay si Cesar Perez, na kung saan si Colonel Andulan, siya ang humuli kay Councilor Norbin Tamisin ng Los Baños, Laguna. And I am very particular of that issue. And then suddenly, yung CCTV lumabas. Nakita natin na wala naman si Norbin Tamisin doon. And sniper yung tumira kay Mayor Cesar Perez. Si Colonel Andulan from Batangas, siya ang humuli kay Norbin Tamisin. So, when I was asking the Colonel Andulan about ano yung relationship mo kay Gerald Bato, sinabi niya na na-assign siya doon sa PNPA. At doon sa PNPA, during that time, yung anak ni Gerald Bato was in school, first year as plebo. So, yun ang sinabi ko, yun ang relasyon mo. And then suddenly, yung issue. Binanata na niya ako, and ako, nag-simmer down ako noon. Hindi naman ako masyado sumagot. Sabi ko kasi, hindi naman ako, kasi siya nga yung nag-mention ng babysitter, nagbe-babysit daw yung anak ko, ganon. Pero yung anak niya, hindi niya hayaan mag-babysit. And of course, ako, nasaktan ako doon. Kaya sabi ko, wala akong mini-mention na nagbe-babysit yung anak mo. I don't want to demean the position of the men in uniform. But sa kanya mismo, sabi ko, wag sanang ganon. Tapos hindi na ako masyadong sumagot doon. Sabi ko, pag nagkausap kami ni Gerald Bato, magkakausap kami ng maayos. But unfortunately, ito yung lumabas. Diba? Si Grijaldo, lumabas doon, may affidavit. Hindi naman siya yung pinag-uusapan natin dito sa Quadcom. Then suddenly, siya yung naging focal person doon sa kanila. So, I think there is a correlation about this.
Sir, clarification po ulit. Are you saying it's a script of Colonel Grijaldo and Senator Bato?
Yes, parang yun ang kanilang narration sa mga pangyayari dito. At dinala nila sa Senado si Grijaldo. Sabi nga na isang press sa akin kanina, sino ba yung Grijaldo? Sabi ko, yan yung kaibigan ni Garma na isinama niya dun sa meeting namin na kung saan nabago na yung narration ni Colonel Garma nang dumating si Colonel Grijaldo. And that, I think we have to investigate why si Colonel Grijaldo, na dumating sa meeting namin with Chairman Ace Barbers, hindi na niya na-reveal yung katotohanan. And then, yun na nga, doon na nag-boils down yun, imbinisigahan na namin si Chairman Garma, si GM Garma.
Opo. Sir, sabi po ninyo, the Quadcom will not take this sitting down. May legal action po ba kayong binabalak? And kung meron po, sino po yung kakasuhan nyo and ano pong kaso?
So we haven't talked about it yet, no? But ako, sa akin, kami ni actually ngayon lang kami nakita ni Chairman Abante. But of course, parang hindi naman tama kung we will take this sitting down, no? We need to ferret out the deeper reason why this happened, that somebody will take his oath doon sa Senado and telling lies against the Quadcom. hindi naman ako lamang ang tinira dito, but the whole of the committee. And it is incumbent upon the leadership of the Quadcom and the House as well to take action on this. Because I think he is under preventive suspension. If I'm not mistaken, because involved siya dun sa pagkamatay ni Barayuga, he is under preventive suspension. Kung he is under preventive suspension, somehow you can relate that he's doing this because yun na nga, trying to get even with us. So sana wag sa ganun. Wag sa ganun pamamaraan. We are all well, I believe that we are in the democratic way of our government, and okay lang yan. Basta harapin na lang namin yan kung ano mangyayari. And we will talk about it.
Opo. Sir, babasahin ko lang po yung patanong ng office, although this was already mentioned kanina by Kong Abante. Ano ang mga gagawin sa mga pinagsasabi ni former President Duterte? Ano ang pwedeng ikaso? Makakatulong ba ito sa ICC? And I will add my own question. Kasi, di ba, dati nag-turn over kayo sa OSG ng documents for civil proceedings. May gagawin din po ba kayong ganong action in relation naman po sa criminal cases na connected po doon sa testimony ni President Duterte sa Senate?
Well, nabanggit ko na, binanggit ko yung Republic Act number 9551, no? Na entitled noon, the Philippine Act on Crimes Against International Humanitarian Law, Genocide, and other crimes against humanity. Hindi kami ang magdidemanda I mean, sa amin po, sa Quadcom, sinabi namin po ulit-ulit we just want justice to be done. Bilang chairman ng Committee on Human Rights, we just want justice to be done. Now, naniniwala naman kami sa war on drugs Pinapaniwalaan namin yan Ayaw namin ng drugs sa Pilipinas Ayaw natin manatili ang mga drug laws sa Pilipinas. Pero, was it necessary to kill more than 20,000 people para lang ma-stop yung drugs sa ating bansa? No. Meron sa tinabi na collateral damage. Collateral damage ba yung napatay na 3-year-old? Napatay na 9-year-old? Collateral damage ba si Kian Alejandro? O sinasabi nila, ilan ba ang napatay ng mga drug lords? Ilan ba? O, sa data na kinuha namin sa Philippine National Police, wala pang 100 Ilan ang napatay ng mga drug pushers? Drug pushers na mga talagang mahihirap. More than 7,000. Ilan ba ang napatay ng mga drug users na dapat hindi patayin? Dapat rehabilitate. 440 people. Ngayon, yung ba collateral damage ba yun? Yung ba yung sinasabi ni Senator Bato na shit happens? Yung ba shit happens lang ba yun? May pambihira naman buhay ito. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng shit? Baka hindi niya alam ibig sabihin ng shit sa American expression. Mura yun Di ba? Shit happens? Ganun lang ba yun? See that? So, ibig sabihin, kung walang accountable dito, ano mangyayari? Di ba? Sa amin, nais lang namin ang katotohanan mailabas dito. Oo, para makapagpagawa kami ng mga batas na hindi na maaaring mangyari pa ang extrajudicial killings. Nag-file na nga kami ng unang-unang bill tungkol dyan na making extrajudicial killings a heinous crime. Yun na yung aming pinail Oo. Kaya bahala na po yung mga agencies po natin na mag-imbestiga. Dahil kami po, in aid of legislation yan. Sinabi ko na rin po, in aid of prosecution. Bakit po? We're not the one prosecuting. But we are telling the prosecutors, we are telling DOJ, yan na. Naimbestiga na kami. Alam nyo na kung sino may kasalanan. Kayo na ang bahala mag-prosecute. Napagkat kami, ito lang ang maaari namin gawin.
Ang maganda din doon sa briefly lang ang maganda sa nagiging investigation natin, we na-expedite po natin yung pagpapile ng mga cases ng ating pong executive department. Like for example, tung sa preservation assets na we recommended, no, na ma-preserve yung mga corporations like yung Empire 999, yung mga ganon. Siyam yan. Na ngayon po, nag-issue na si Secretary Lucas Bersamin. And we are so happy that all the evidences that we have gathered have been submitted to them for their perusal. At nagkaroon po tayo ng positive reaction. Maraming salamat po.
Sir, dun sa issue ng criminal cases, gagawin niyo rin yun? Magta-turn over din kayo ng documents?
Oh yes, pag hiniling po ng DOJ that we could turn over the documents, we will do it. Anyway, sinabi ko na rin naman na DOJ is always watching the Quadcom. At talagang public naman lahat ng mga dokumentong ito. So, they could be able to get that. Dahil kami naman, we cannot even prosecute. So, talagang in aid of legislation lamang kami. So, commentatory lang kami. Para sabihin namin sa DOJ, ito lahat ng mga documents, kayo na bahala rito. What are you gonna do about this?
Isang maganda nangyari doon, nagkaroon na para siyang liaison officer dito. And lahat ng ginagawa namin directly, immediately are being taken action. Kaya lahat na expedite.
Ito talaga ang katotohanan. Ito, para sa malaman po ng taong bayan. Willful killings to affected thousands of civilians. Ang sabi nga po ng ICC, ang estimate ng napatay from 12,000 to 30,000 deaths between July 2016 and March 2019 alone. O sabihin na natin na maraming napatay ng mga drug pushers. Sabihin na natin. Kaya sabi ko kanina, ilan ba napatay na drug lords? Ilan pa napatay na drug lords? Okay. Si Kerwin Espinosa, na sinasabi po ng PIDEA na drug lord, nakakawala pa ngayon . Okay. Nakakapagtaka. Yung former administration, lahat na dismiss ang kaso ni Kevin Espinosa. Ang tanong ko, bakit? Sinabi ng PIDEA hanggang ngayon, nasa drug list pa ang pangalan ni Kerwin bilang drug lord. Ba't pa siya nakakawala? Kung talagang drug lord siya, hulihin na siya. Bakit andun siya nakakawala? Napatay ba? Hindi. Sinong napapatay? Yung mga mahihirap na mga tao na ang sabi po ng iba, kaya kami naging drug pusher, pulis din ang nagbibigay ng drug sa amin. Nakausap ko ang isang tao. Ang sabi niya sa akin ganito karamihan po daw ng mga drug pushers, pulis ang nagbibigay ng drugs. Ano pong ibig sabihin nun? Di ba? Alam natin na sinabi ng ating Pangulo na ako ang responsable. Huwag niyong pagbintangan ng mga kapulisan ko. Ba't niya minumura yung mga pulis? Ba't pinabayaan niya? Sino ba nag-utos na patayin? Shoot them dead. Sino ba nagsabi nun? Siyempre na-embolden ang mga kapulisan natin. Yun naman pala ang sabi ng leader natin. Commander-in-chief pa natin yan. Titirahin na natin to. May reward pa. So, ang tinatanong ko, ano ang pagkakaiba ng drug pusher na yun lang ang kanyang trabaho? Mahirap na tao ito na kumikita sa drugs para makakain sila. Anong pagkakaiba niyan sa pulis na pumapatay din ng drug pusher upang magkaroon ng pera? Anong pagkakaiba? Wala pagkakaiba .
Thank you. Are you done with your questions, Tina?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, Nelson Tismorio from Manila Bulletin. I recognize.
Hello po, Kongs. May we get your reaction po dun sa confirmation or admission po ni Pangulong Digong na meron po mga death squad, tapos pinagtuturupan niyo po yung niya po yung mga retired generals na kasama yung mga yan. Just your reaction po.
Well, katulad ng sinabi kanina ni Chairman Abante, merong tayong batas Republic Act 9851. Doon sa 9851 kasi, kinaklaro doon yung defining and yung mga penalizing. yung mga acts against international humanitarian law, genocide, saka yung crimes against humanity. At doon, meron din yung jurisdiction. Tapos yung mga local courts natin ang magte-take over, will take cognizance on that. Ano? At doon sa mga sinabi ng dating nating Pangulo, admitting, yung kitang-kita naman, klaro naman, di ba? I think, alam mo, hindi ko alam kung, well, alam natin, si Presidente mahilig siya mag-joke. Sometimes hindi na natin alam kung ano yung katotohanan, kung ano yung mga jokes, ano yung tipong pinasasakay lang tayo. But being a former president and a president, I think it is incumbent upon the highest elected official to set the tone of being the top leader of the country. And sa puntong yun, medyo nag-fail tayo. Ngayon, yung mga tinura niya doon, this time, there must be responsible and he must be responsible for it. And accordingly, pag binasa mo yung Section 8 ng Republic Act 9851, lumalabas din yung command responsibility ng mga superior. And him, being the superior of the land during his incumbency, he will take responsibility on Section 8 of Republic Act 9851. So, even yung binabanggit ni Chairman Abante about sa 9851, nung binasa ko rin kanina, nakalagay doon sa Section 15 that international laws and other laws will be the source of the courts under the jurisdiction of this country. So, ibig sabihin, pati yung mga Genocide Convention, yung Geneva Convention, and also the Hague Convention, and at yung convention doon sa rights of the children, nakapol under this. Kaya, I think we need to use this Republic Act 9851 by the Department of Justice.
Naman, kung sagutin ko yan, ako'y nagpapasalamat sa ating former president na at least naging honest siya. Inamin niya kasi tinanong namin si Colonel Patay, wala raw DDS eh. O ngayon, yung dating Pangulo na nagsabi, meron. Nung mayor pa siya, meron. Eh, nung Pangulo na siya, hindi pwedeng sabihin wala na yun. Diba? And that is binding on him. Yung kanyang admission in the Senate hearing. O, sa akin po, yung sinabi ko nga sa aking statement kanina, ito shocking normalization of brutality. Sana po nakita po ng ating mga kababayan ito. Ito ba ang nais natin na maging katulad po tayo ng Mexico? Maging katulad po tayo ng Colombia na sinusuportahan ng taong bayan yung mga drug lord sapagkat nagbibigay ng mga pera sa mga tao. Ganun po ba nais nating makita? Sana wag na po. Tigilan na po natin itong extra judicial killings na ito. Tigilan na po natin yung salitang pagpatay. Ibig sabihin, kahit na Senator Bato, sinabi niya, nagbibiro lamang ang Pangulo. Aba, masamang biro yun ha. Yung papatay ka, kung biro lang yun, masama mo biro yun. Eh, kung halimbawa sabihin ko sa'yo, papatayin kita, tapos mamaya sabihin ko, nagbibiro lang ako, natakot ka na. Diba? Natakot ka na. Binibiro lang kita. Natakot na ako eh. Traumatic na ako eh. Tapos sasabihin mo, binibiro lang kita. Ganun po ang ibig sabihin niya.
Thank you. Next questions from Earl Tobias from IBC 13.
Good Congressman, good afternoon po. Earl po from IBC. Kung Benny, nasabi nyo kanina, balikan ko lang, sa halip na parang maging in sake of the truth, parang naging pagbabago ng katotohanan yung mga testimonya ng dating Pangulo, sir. Yun na din po ba yung treatment nyo doon sa nangyari, sir, na admit niya na meron niyang death squad, tapos mamaya i-retract niya ulit pag nilinaw ng mga senador. Also, sir, dito sa pagdinig kasi sa Quadcom, sinesentro nyo, nakita ng publiko na sinesentro sa yung mga EGK victims as biktima, pero sa Pangulo sila ay collateral damages, sir.
Sa akin, palagay ko hindi niya na masasabi yung nasa under oath siya, no? nabiro ito eh. Inamin niya na meron DDS. Sinabi na collateral damage ito. So, let us talk on the extent of the collateral damage. Ilan po ba ang napatay? Ito ilan po ba ang napatay ng mga bata? Napatay na walang kasalanan. Napatay na hindi drug pushers. Ilan po ba yan? Napatay na mga drug users lamang. Ilan po ba yan? Sabihin natin, nanlaban po yung mga yan. Nanlaban ang sabi nila. Well, nasaan po yung weapon ng mga nanlaban? We'd like, meron kang, yung arsenal ba ng Pilipinas? Yung crime lab ng Philippine National Police. Kung 6,000 ang nanlaban, dapat sa crime lab, merong 6,000 ang mga weapons. Paano nanlaban? Pinatay nanlaban. Ano, nakipagsuntukan lang ba yung mga yan? Merong mga weapon yan. Nasaan po yung mga weapons? Yun po ang ipakita nila.
Thank you po. Follow up na lang sa akin. Kung Dan, so kung may maayos naman pala na pag-uusap between some Quadcom chairs and Grijaldo, tapos doon niya sinabi yung katotohanan, and then under oath sa Senate, bigla siyang bumaliktad, blatantly lying, what do we make of this, sir? Paano natin ititreat yung nangyari na yun?
Well, pupunta naman siya dito sa next hearing. So we will be asking him a lot of questions, no? And most likely we will be dealing also with the yung kay General Barayuga, no? Kasi hindi pa kami nakaka-focus doon. That's the reason why he was being invited. Kasi once na may nagtatanong ng mga members, ang pinag-uusapan yung kay General Barayuga, he'll be present kasi siya ang Chief of Police. But yun na nga, na-involve yun. So, ito na yung pumasok. So, treat natin yun as siguro. Ako naman kasi sa akin, actually, wala sa akin. Wala naman sa atin yung pinagtatawanan na nga lang namin na ano ba naman to. Wala na silang maibato sa Quadcom na para bang they're trying to make a story. Now, ngayon, kung i-consider nila as truthful talaga yon at maninindigan siya sa susunod na hearing na talagang totoo yung mga sinabi niya, then we will take the consequences of that. Kasi we will not take that sitting down. And we'll be giving him another chance na sa susunod na hearing, he tell us his story. Ako, I'm pretty sure there's a story behind it. And di bali sana kung hindi namin siya nakausap nung bago mag-testify si Colonel Garma. He was there. He was there and he was not even been invited. Nagulat na lamang ako, nandun siya. At hindi ko siya kilala. Sabi ko, sino yan? Ano yan? Tao yan ni General Bat. Ganun ba? Sige. So, we will try to see it.
Gusto ko lang idagdag. May nababanggit na baka inappropriate yung aming pagtawag sa kanya. Sabi ko, appropriate to Number one, human rights. Binibigyan mo ng karapatan yung tao, hindi naman siya namin pinilit ipatawag Pinatawag namin siya sapagkat nais niya na ipatawag siya. Sapagkat si Colonel Garma, sinabi niya, classmate ko to. Kaibigan ko, classmate ko. Ito lang ang kaibigan ko, classmate. So, we decided to talk to him para malaman sa kanya. Ito hindi ko alam kung taktika yung ginawa niya No? Pero ito yun siya ang Chief of Police sa Mandaluyong. Napatay si General Barayuga. Nasaan ang report? Wala. Walang report. Walang police report. Siya ang Chief of Police ng Mandaluyong. Walang police report. Anong ibig sabihin ito? Ang sabi ni Colonel Garma, marami siyang alam. Anong ginawa niya? Yung mismong kaibigan niya at classmate niya, nilaglag niya. Yun ang problema doon. Hindi ba?
Yeah, actually, sinabi nga niya doon sa hindi naman doon niya kaibigan. Parang pagkakasabi niya, classmate lang ako. Parang natatandaan ko yung sabi niya, classmate lang ako. Wala ko alam dyan. Mga ganon. So, ako, nung marinig ko yun, sabi ko, sa sarili ko, wala to. So, the betting stopped. Sabi ko ganon. So, ako, I went out. Tapos si Benny, sumunod na rin. So, yun yung story doon. So, I hope lumiwanag yung kanyang kaisipan. Kasi nga, wala naman siya sa story doon sa buong concept na inimbestigahan namin Doon lang siya sa isang peripheral issue, yung kay Barayuga. Di ba? Doon lang siya nakasama. Nagugulat kami at nakikisaw siya sa isang bagay na hindi naman siya involved.
Kongs, last from me. Kong Benny, doon sa pagdinig, nami-mention ng dating Pangulo yung termination, yung tutudasin kita. na-mention niya as viable option yung pagpatay straightforward as form of, eradicating drugs or other criminal act. Pero bilang chairman po ng Committee on Human Rights, ano pong weight na ninormalize supposedly ng Pangulo yung ganong approach?
Unang-una, again, salamat at binanggit niya yan. No? Salamat, gano'n ang attitude niya. Terrible, kung gano'n po ang utak ng isang leader ng bansa, kawawa ang buong bansa. Di ba? I mean, look binanggit din ni Tony Del Giorno. Nabanggit po namin yan sa Quadcom yung neutralize. Di ba? Yung neutralize, negation, na ang sinasabi, kill. Kahit po si Canes Pinedo, sinabi niya, kill din yun Kahit na po ang PIDEA, sinabi nila, kill din ang ibig sabihin nun Tinignan ko yung Webster's Dictionary, ano nakalagay? Kill din ang nakalagay doon. Oo. Tapos, binanggit ni Senator Bato, hindi naman po sa aming rule, kill yan. Arrest. Ba't hindi arrest ang tawag? Bakit neutralize? Sana arrest ang tawag sapagkat dapat lang arrestuhin. Due process Di ba? Kahit suspect yan, nakalagay sa ating konstitusyon. A suspect is not guilty, di ba? Is innocent unless proven guilty. Alam po ng taong bayan yan So arrestuhin natin. Ikorte natin ito. Ikulong natin kung kinakailangan. Pero sasabihin niyo sa akin, arrest? Pinapatay na agad Yun po ang question dyan, mga kaibigan.
Dagdag lang kasi when he was the president of this country, akala natin yung mga sinasabi niya papatayin, ikaw mayor, ganyan, Biel Mabilo, magtago ka na sa pinanggalingan mo. Akala natin lahat yon mga jokes. Alam natin na may samang joke yung sinasabi ng presidente. Nasanay na tayo doon Then suddenly nakita natin yung mga patayan. So balitang, mayroong patayan. May balitang bayaran. Kasi nagsalita rin si Senator Bato saka si Senator Bongo na may bayaran and even the president, the former president. Then suddenly, nung natapos ang kanilang administrasyon, nag-iimbestiga kami sa public order and safety. Nakikita namin yung mga police, mga peking, mga bypass operation na nagkakaroon sila ng paraan para kumita pa lalo. So, hanggang dumating kami dito sa issue natin na pinag-uusapan sa Pogo, sa EJK, then suddenly, lumabas na to nung kay Garma na may nagsalita na officially sa Kongreso. So ngayon nare-realize natin na lahat ng mga sinabi nila during their administration, now may katotohanan na. Dahil somebody testified under oath dito sa Kongreso. At it was corroborated by so many people. So I think, ngayon, pag magsasalita silang yung nangyari sa Kongreso, that wala namang DDS, tapos sasabihin nila, wala namang inuutos na encourage yung kriminal para mag-arm, para lumaban, para mapatay. Then ngayon sasabihin nila na joke lahat yun. Ang taong bayan hindi naman niniwala. Ako hindi na ako makapaniwala kasi nga may nagsalita na Nakasamahan din nila dati. Yun ang problema dito Kasamahan nila dati And they were not under any pressure or duress when we talk to them. Kaya I think we are in the right path, and the Congress, the Quadcom, we are doing our job, and I hope that the people will somehow acknowledge, appreciate that what we are doing is somehow right. Kasi nga kami ang policy namin, let's be honest with this and be transparent. And as always, kapag may mga ganyang witnesses, there will always be somebody na kasama namin to set up the transparency.
Billy Vegas from Abante. Your question.
Pihitin ko lang po ng konti. Kumusta na po ba si Michael Yang? Kasi parang hindi na siya nababanggit ulit.
Ngayong hearing namin ng November 6 it's about dangerous drugs. So doon na makikita natin yung kabuuan ng mga matrix that will be presented by the chair because siya yung sa dangerous drugs eh. So by Wednesday expect na ang pag-uusapan po natin yan sila Jimmy Guban, yung mga sa drugs and everything. So ayun, magkita-kita po tayo doon.
Ako rin, gusto kong kumustahin si Michael Yang. Eh. Oo. Mukhang wala sa Pilipinas. Eh. Mulang nag-around the world. Oo, si Michael Yang. Siguro, di ba patawag natin yung Tony Yang? Di ba? Yung kanyang kapatid. Papatawag po natin yan. Kasi talagang ito, tatlong bagay ito eh. Ang Senate hearing, isa lang ang pinag-uusapan, EJK lang eh. Ang Quadcom. Kaya apat kami, pinag-uusapan yan. Pogo, drugs, EJK. Lahat to related eh. Diba? Kaya pag-uusapan po, huwag kayong mag-alala, pag-uusapan po natin yan.
Hingi lang din po ng reaction doon sa sinabi sa Senate kahapon na ayaw niyo raw magbigay ng address. Kung gusto nila ipatawag.
Yung address, well actually ang inaano ngayon para nadinig ko no na yung address doon sa ano kay Kerwin Espinosa. Kasi ang ating COMSEC, they course it through the PNP. Hindi naman tayo ang direct na nag-imbita kay Kerwin Espinosa. Ang nag-invite doon si PNP. So dapat ganun din ang gawin ng Senado. Huwag nila i-course through sa atin. I-course through nila sa PNP. And doon sa kay Jimmy Guban para nadinig ko rin ata yung kay Jimmy Guban. I-course through nila yon sa Bucor. Not sa amin. Kasi nga, may responsibility yung protection and security ng mga PDLs is under the Bucor. Not with the House of Representatives. Kaya I think they're barking on the wrong tree. Ha? So, I hope that they'll be careful about it.
Yung Sandro Chola, pambilyonaryo.
Ay, Kong Benny and Kong Dan. Sir, personally, kayo po ba naniniwala na may inamin si former president kahapon? So tingin niyo po ba may pag-ako on his part? Kasi ang binabanggit po kaninang umaga ni Attorney Panelo, wala naman daw inamin. Figure of speech lang daw yung Davao Death Squad.
Unang-una kasi, hindi naman resource speaker si Tony Panelo eh. Abogado siya eh, ni dating Pangulo. So, hindi naman siya resource speaker. Pangalawa, nakita naman natin inamin ni former president yung talagang responsibility niya. Inamin niya, inako niya eh. Yung mga pagpatay na yan, yung DDS niya, inako niya yan eh. Ngayon, kung sasabihin ng ibang mga abogado niya na nagbibiro lang siya, hindi ko na alam kung anong... sa totoo lang, sabihin ko sa inyo, pag ako sinabi sa akin na papatayin ako, matatakot ako eh. Di ba? Oo. Tapos sabihin sa akin, hindi, nagbibiro lang ako. Mahirap yan tayo.
Ako tingin ko kasi that era was already passé eh. That's already done. I mean, let's face it, we evolve, to find out that those kind of treatment to the Filipino people about joking on serious matter will not be considered rightly by the Filipino people now. Kasi nga, I think the Filipino people are now waking up na nakikita po nila na may mali. Precisely because somebody na within their group have spoken about these things. So, tapusin na po natin yung mga joke-joke kapag once na nagsabi ka na doon. That's it eh. Di ba? Sometimes, like for example, yun sa edad din po ni former President Duterte, and the way yung style niya ng panunungkulan for so many decades, we have seen yung strong personality niya. And he cannot change that anymore. Being an old person. And I think, nagmamanifest yun doon sa kanyang speaking from the heart. At pag nasasabi niya, nakikita ng mga lawyers niya na mali. So, sinasabi na lang nila na joke. Pero, ako, I understand yung situation ni Presidente. Being a mayor for so many years, tapos naging presidente, naging strong, then suddenly, babaguhin niya yung style niya. That's hard. And that's the reason why meron siyang mga generals na nakaikot sa kanya to remind the people na hindi yun ang ibig sabihin ng presidente. Pero tapos na po yung era na yun. Dapat ayusin na po natin.
So sir, tingin nyo wala nang kawala. Talagang dire-diretso na dun sa crime against humanity and possible makarating nga ng ICC, gamitin sa ICC yung kanyang pronouncement at pag-amin.
Kasi alam nyo, I'm pretty sure, dapat ako, hindi ako pabor dyan sa ICC na ever since nagsalita na ako sa niyan, dati pa eh. But of course, the international community is really watching. The Republic Act 9851, nakita ko rin yan, nabasa ko na meron pala tayong batas na gano'n. Yung jurisdiction over this matter will be under the Philippine courts. And establishing special courts can be done by the DOJ according sa Republic Act 1951, and all the international laws must be considered as well. Now, kung magpa-fail po ang DOJ on doing their job on this matter, then the more na ICC will take cognizance. So, I think it's really up to the DOJ to do their work.
Sa akin, parang mas maganda na domestically na lang siya ma-prosecute, no? Para pag halimbawa, ang DOJ nagsabi na mayroong prima facie evidence na dapat siya ay ma-prosecute at ni-charge ng court dito, hindi na siya papatawag ng ICC. Dapat meron na ritong tinatawag na proper judgment ang ginagawa ng ating bansa eh. Diba? Yun ang sa amin. Ako, naintindihan ko naman ang kalagayan ng ating Pangulo tulad ni Congressman Fernandez. Naintindihan po namin yan kasi wala nang naging mayor siya. Magulo sa Davao eh. Nung naging mayor siya, talagang sa Davao magulo. Ang daming NPA, ang daming drug pushers. Ginawa niya, nilinis niya. Yun din ang kanyang ginawang template sa buong bansa. Naunawaan ko po ang ating Pangulo tungkol dyan. Subalit, hindi niya pwedeng i-skirt ang responsibility ng isang leader ng bansa. Siguro kung siya ay a private person lang, magsalita siya ng ganyan, magbiro siya, okay pa eh. Pero pang isang pangulo ng bansa, nagbiro ng ganyan, ginagawa lang sa babae. Oo. Nakakatakot yan. Gagayahin ng bawat Pilipino yan. Magahamon. Sasabihin na papatayin kita. Biro lang yun. Baka gayahin na ng Pilipino yan. Anytime.
Yeah, actually, nangyari yan noong panahon nun. Naging strong yung mga mayor, mga nagmumura na rin. Maraming ganun. Maraming nag-emulate ng ginagawa niya. And I hope na mag-stop natin po talaga yan. You know why?
Sana
Because
hindi ka magmura pag governor ka na.
alam mo kung bakit ko nasasabi na dapat this have to stop. Yun ang sinasabi natin, the law must be applied to all or none at all, di ba? Ngayon, ang problema, kung halimbawa nagmumura si former president sa Senado, tapos inayaan natin magmura dito, what prevent others to make that kind of statement as well? Papatay. Halimbawa, si Laila de Lima, o sabihin niya, patay, contempt mo siya, or pag hindi winidraw, kasi pinabayaan natin. So, huwag natin hayaan na dungisan yung institusyon. Hayaan na nating dungisan tayong mga parliamentarians. But yung mismong institusyon na mapapunta yung record ng mga sinasabi ng bawat isa dyan, na babasahin ng mga susunod na henerasyon, nakakaya tayo. Nakakaya. Di ba babasahin nila, wala man lang nag-stand para i-delete o tanggalin yon sa record ng Senado and even in us. Kaya nga sabi ko, pag dito, hindi ako papayag na put into record yan. Mabubura ko yan. I mean, that I'm
Point of order.
I'm pretty sure all of the chairman and all the members will agree with me na hindi po natin pwedeng ilagay sa record yan. Lalabas dyan yan lahat ng mura. Lahat ng mga masasakit na salita na hinayaan natin. At tayo ang sisisihin ng mga susunod na henerasyon for that.
I like our people to know na lahat po ng pronouncement ng Pangulo, kahit na pagmumura niya, recorded po yan sa Malacanang eh. Nasa archive yan. Lahat ng mga sinabi niya. Pag pagmumura niya, alright. Kaya nga ako, pag may program ako, o mayroon akong nasasabi kahit sa pulpito, May mga nagbabasa sa akin, minumura ako eh. Bakit? Alam ko kung saan galing yun eh. Di ba? But the thing is this, yung PI, hindi lang mura yan eh. Nanay ko, tinutukoy mo dyan eh. Nanay ko yan eh. Terrible mahal ko nanay ko eh. Ba't mo kinakailangan murahin? Kung magagawa ka ng PI. Oo, siguro, yung gago matatanggap ko pa eh. Kung talagang gago yan eh. Yung tarantado, kung talagang tarantado yan. Sinasabi ko yan sa pulpito eh. Kung talagang tarantado ka, hindi mura yan, totoo yan. Pero yung PI, aba, pambira, pagtanggap ng ating kababayan yan, minumura mismo yung nanay niya, ay pa hindi ko katanggap-tanggap sa akin yun.
Sir, last na lang. Sir, so if in case na pag umattend siya sa Quadcom, tapos ganon, anong gagawin natin, sir?
Point of order.
Yeah, ganun. Tapos we will try to remind him. Tapos pagpaulit-ulit pa rin, then we have to take action. Well, ako, ang nakikita ko dyan, I try to tell this to Chairman Ace eh. Sabi ko, kapag gano'n, nagsalita siya ng panay mura inabot natin doon. I think we have exhausted yung mga bagay na itatanong sa Senado. To be honest, I'm candid with that. Ay, yung magandang nagawa sa Senado na umamin si former President about the DDS and also yung trying to convince yung mga criminals to take arms and for the PNP to kill them. So, yun, na-establish natin yun. And sabihin na nilang joke yun, whatever, bahala sila. Pero na-establish natin doon sa statement nun. And ako, okay na yun eh. Nakuha na natin pinaka-gist ng sinasabi natin na meron tayong DDS, merong patayan. Ang hindi lang natin masyado na-establish doon that they denied is yung reward. Yung kasi hindi yun inamin. Pero kung mapapansin nyo, yung sinabi, merong 7 na pangalan. At tinatanong doon kung binayaran yon. Tinanong ni Senator Risa yon eh. Ang sabi, hindi, mayayaman yun eh. Mayayaman yun, yung mga yun. Parang ganun pagkakaintindi ko. So, nandun yung denial about that matter. So, probably, yun yung mga issue na pwede namin explore. Kung more people will come out and try to reveal yung mga payment system that was that transpired during the past administration.
Ako, I'm not against the Senate hearing, no? Pero lagay ko, hindi uso sa Senado yung point of order. Eh. Sa amin, ako sinabi ko na, niisip po ba lang, pag nagmura ang ating Pangulo ng PI sa aming Quadcom, point of order pa rin yan. Point of order. Mr. Chairman, point of order. We should not allow any vulgar statement in this hearing. Ganun lang naman yun eh. Wala na yung magagawa niya. Kinakailangan po talaga, sansalain natin ito. Bakit? Kapag nasanay tayo dyan, yung mga bata sa mga kalye, ganoon na rin ang gagawin nila eh.
Sandro, please bear with us as we are still about to accommodate stories from our media. I appeal to everyone to refrain from asking questions that have already been addressed by our resource persons. Lines Capante from GMA Online.
Sir, morning. Sir, follow-up ko lang po yung kay Colonel Garma. Senate President Escudero said it's very important for her to appear in the Senate drug war probe. Is the House allowing her to go there? Or as far as you know, does she want to testify also in the Senate?
Well, ako, talagang dapat mag-appeal siya doon. No? Sooner or later, she'll be there din naman as well. Unfortunately, prior to the last committee hearing natin, noong October 22, nagpapaalam na yan about yung kanyang condition. And it's a long letter to us. She was talking about yung esophagus niya eh. Kasi parang meron siyang dito na naka-block na hindi siya makalunok. And actually, hindi namin siya inalaw na hindi maka-attend noong October 22. And because after that hearing, we allowed her ma-consider yung medical check-up niya. And it happened na I thought Sunday siya pupunta para maka-attend siya ng Monday. Pero yun nga, Monday pala siya umattend ng medical check-up niya. So kay ano naman, kay Leonardo, siguro after niyan, ilang days lang naman yung COVID. So, he can attend.
Nakatanggap kami ng urgent motion, di ba? From the lawyer na talaga matindi ang sakit ni Colonel Garma. So, kami naman, hindi naman namin pwedeng, sabi ng urgent motion na this is another human rights concern, no? Yung right to life. Naniniwala ako dun eh. So, hinayaan namin siya makita ng mga doktor sa Cardinal Santos. I do not know if he's in Cardinal Santos now, no? O nagpapatingin si Cardinal Santos. Oo. For medical check-up. Balita namin, baka ma-ICU pa siya because of that. So, she cannot actually speak properly, mentally speaking, kung harap siya sa Senado. Although kami naman, we will not prevent the Senate from calling her to testify.
Release Colonel Gar. That is all.
Not yet.
Opo.
Nalip na yung contempt? Hindi pa.
Sir, follow-up na. Follow-up po yung President Duterte kasi, former President Duterte kahapon was qualifying the responsibility. Said, taking responsibility for policy. Cannot take responsibility for specific crimes kasi isa ni Senator Risa, how about this kid who is armed? Si Kian, Carl Anthony, Reynaldo de Cruz. That's the name.
Kasi nga yan nga
So,
eh.
acceptable ba yung qualification niya na for specific crimes, I cannot take responsibility? So how do you respond to that? I mean, is that an acceptable argument?
Yun nga problem eh. Di ba may mga pronouncement siya. O sige, ano niya, patayin niyo na. Kung bahala sa inyo, sagot ko kayo. O then suddenly ngayon, pag may mga specific crime na nagawa, like for example, inarm mo yung ano, you're trying to tell yung criminal, o sige, i-ano mo siya, i-provoke mo siya para patayin siya ng PNP. So ginawa ng PNP. Alam mo, ito kasi, well, the level of knowledge of the president and all the generals and the chief PNP, they are far more intelligent eh. Let's accept it, no? Yung mga lower ranks, like for example, yung mga sergeant, teniente, major, captain. So ngayon, hindi yung negation, yung kanilang elimination, ng negation na sinasabi nila, hindi naman nakarating yun sa lower ranks eh. Sa kanilang yun, tinago nga yun eh. O, di ba? They accepted do sa Senate na it was being hidden. Now, ang bigat ng naging repercussion sa ating mga kababayan, you have to understand na hindi nga pantay-pantay ang level ng knowledge ng ating mga kapulisan. Merong mga mabababa, with all due respect with them, na hindi nila alam kung ano yung mga inuutos sa taas na hindi na ba nabababa properly sa kanila. Basta ang alam lamang, sige, patayin niyo yan, sagot namin kayo. O now, ngayon, pinatay mo yun. Ikaw responsible na pulis dyan. So, sagutin mo yan. Kung paano yung sinabi niyang pronouncement nila, nasagot kita. Kaya ngayon sinasabi ng presidente, sagot niya lahat. Pero in the proper court, hindi naman pwede yun. Hindi naman pwede ituro nung pulis na ako ang nag-utos sa iyo directly na meron direct knowledge at may witness. Wala namang ganun eh. Sinabi lang niya yung pronouncement niya. Tapos sinasabi ng mga generals niya, ng mga lawyers, joke lang yun. So ngayon, meron nang nangyaring krimen. O, bahala ka na. Yan ang problem na encounter ng mga kapulisan natin. I think it's a deception in the highest level that we have to accept the real situation of the members of the PNP. They have to confront yung mga issues and cases that will be filed against them.
So I will never question the knowledge of the president being a lawyer, no, and a former prosecutor. Pero malinaw yung Republic Act 9851 eh. Oo. Kasama dun yung command responsibility or conspiracy. I mean, ang question ko, logic lang to ha, logically. Ano ba ang basis ng pagpatay? Di ba policy? What is the policy of the government during his time? shoot them dead. So bakit mamatay yung mga police? Gusto mo nilang pumatay? I don't think the policemen would like to kill it. Hindi, ayaw nilang pumatay. Oo, I am nais ko din sabihin na nakakaawa din yung kapulisan nila na ang sinasabi nila, we are just obeying the command of the higher up. Kawawa po sila eh. So, sa akin, logically speaking, what is the basis of the killings that have happened? Ang dami niyan. Policy. Who pronounced the policy? The former president.
Sorry, so ultimately responsible siya, even for the specific crimes.
Sa akin, I believe so. On command responsibility. Wala.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Victoria Tulad from ABS-CBN.
Thank you. Good afternoon po. Sir, meron kasing iba na iniisip na suspicious yung pag-meet po ninyo kay Grijaldo outside of the hearing itself. Can you just explain po, part ba siya ng process talaga na Kongs meet resource persons, talk about certain stuff outside of the hearing?
Well, actually, of course, you have to validate and verify. Meron kami tinatawag na betting eh. Yung betting, alamin mo kung talagang totoo yung mga sinasabi. Like, for example, yung kay Colonel Garma na sinasabi niya na kaibigan niya yon. Ako, I can confirm that kasi prior to that meeting with Grijaldo doon sa back ng Quadcom, na-meet ko na si Grijaldo doon sa meeting namin prior to that. So, basically, nung sinabi niya kaibigan niya yon at kaklasmate niya, naniwala ako doon. At ang sinabi niya na yan ang makakapag-testify doon sa mga sinabi ko sa affidavit. So, binigyan namin ng chance. But that betting process that was done to Colonel Grijaldo, ako lang yon saka si Chairman Abante. Hindi pa yon alam ng ibang chairman. And that's the reason why wala pang lawyer si Grijaldo doon. And even us, wala pa rin kaming lawyer. But during that time, we see it proper to include yung lawyer ni Garma dahil sila yung nag-request na kausapin si Grijaldo during that time, which we did. Unfortunately, yun nga nangyari.
Lahat naman ng mga affidavit na ginawa ng mga witness namin was done with the help of their lawyers, yung kanilang mga abogado. Siyempre, alam naman ng ating kababayan yan, no? Colonel Garma, for example, tinanong namin siya, why are you now changing your statement? Sinabi naman niya, I have a change of heart. Sabi niya, I now want to speak the truth. At sabi pa niya, the truth shall set you free. Oo. And then she made a supplemental affidavit on that with the help of her lawyers. Ganoon din naman Grijaldo eh. Kung gusto niya kumuha ng abogado, it's up to him. Sapagkat he is also accountable. Binanggit po sa amin ni Colonel Garma, marami siyang alam. And he is also fully accountable sapagkat nung pinatay si General Barayuga, wala natanggap na report mula sa kanya. Wala siyang ginawa bilang Chief of Police at that time in Mandaluyong.
And then, do you think nabawasan po yung credibility ng Senate hearing dahil hindi nag-inhibit si Senator Go and Senator Bato?
You just have to think about this, parang ako, akusado ako, and I am part of the jury. I'm interrogating yung mga resource persons. And pag ganun ang sitwasyon, what will come out to the investigation? It's not proper to be a part of the jury, And I think it's inappropriate and not allowed, Like for example, sa states, hindi naman pwede yung ganun. So, common sense dictates that don't be a part of any investigation that ikaw mismo involved. Ako, if ever that I'll be involved in any case, being ang chairman of Committee on Public Order and Safety, I will inhibit myself and I will transfer the responsibility to my vice chairman. Kasi I think mababawasan talaga yung credibility investigation.
Hindi magiging balanse ang hearing, for example. because merong biases. Sa Quadcom, makikita ninyo na wala kaming biases. I mean, balancing hearing po namin. Lahat kinakausap yan. So, and sorry to say, Senator Bato is always defensive, no? In fact, nakita ko, ang tinatanong ni Chairman Coco Pimentel, si Senator Bato na eh. Diba? Samantalang, they should interpolate the witnesses and the source speakers, not try to defend themselves.
Phil Kirigonan from DCRH.
To Congressman Abante and Kong Dan. Ang sabi ni Kong Dan kanina, okay na yung hearing sa Senate. So meron pang pangailangan pa na ipatawag ang former president sa hearing ng Quadcom? Or it's just a waste of time? Or it's just proper to just file cases to save time?
Ako, ang explore na lang natin if ever yung reward system. Dun sa mga DDS na sinabi niya na meron, tapos encouraging the policemen to arm the criminals to fight back. Yun, established na yun. Even there are a lot of justification on those wordings. But yung sa reward, yun yung tipong hinahanap natin eh. Kasi na-establish na rin doon na, yun na nga, may 7 personality. Tapos, para may sinabi si Presidente doon na patay na ata yung 7. Pero still, we need to find out kung sino-sino po yung 7 yun para malaman po natin kung anong karakter at anong personalidad, kaninong pamilya, kung buhay pa yung... Of course, may mga pamilya yan, yung 7 yan eh. So maybe we can ask the members of the family of those 7 people so malaman po natin kung ano naging istorya nung kanilang partisipasyon dun sa sinasabi po ng ating pong former president about those 7 people. Kasi doon natin ma-establish kung meron talagang, well, yung nagkaroon sila, nabayaran sila, o whatever. Basta sa reward system, I think medyo gray area pa yan.
Just one follow-up lang, sir. As chairman of Committee on Human Rights, Kong Abante, do you support the recommendation of Congresswoman Castro to submit Duterte's Senate confession in the ICC?
What?
To submit.
Well, I have always been true to my statement since we started the EJK hearing that I'm not going to allow the ICC to get our documents for that. Anyway, they could be able to do their own investigation on their own. Hindi na kailangan yung tulong ng Quadcom o tulong ng aking committee on that. No? In fact, naniniwala kami na the ICC is watching all the proceedings. Kaya meron silang documents tungkol dyan. So, maganda yung sinabi ni Congresswoman Castro. Yet, I still would like to say na let them do a separate investigation. Oo. Not use us for their own investigation. Yun lang ang sa akin.
Thank you. Kat Borbes from Radyo Pilipinas.
Sir, clarify ko lang po yun dun sa inviting former president still sa Quadcom. Sabi niyo po, next week, November 6, will be about illegal drugs. Would you ask him din po ba to attend para po mabigyan linaw din po yung connection niya with Michael Yang? Or reward system lang po talaga yung habol niyo from the former president?
Yeah, if ever that the president will notify us about his intention to be a part of the next hearing, then we can adjust the agenda that we set already. Basically, madali naman natin ma-adjust yun. At mag-focus lang muna tayo sa lahat ng mga tanong kay Presidente. At kapag nakuha na natin po lahat ng mga sagot, then we can let him go. So, hindi naman po, kasi marami na nasagot sa Senado eh. And ako, particularly, kapag ako, hindi ko natatanong yung mga bagay na yun. Kasi nga, ano na yun eh, na manifested na yun eh, na under oath. So, kunin na lang natin mga bagay na medyo hindi pa klaro sa amin. So, yun po yung ating kasagutan.
Ako naman, meron akong reservation to invite the President kasi sabi niya na lahat ang gusto niya sabihin sa Senado So ano pa ang nais namin makuha sa kanya, no? Just for him to be present there. Siguro, gusto ko din sabihin na if he is well enough to face the Senate, palagay ko kung talagang kinakailangan imbitahan namin siya, he should also be well enough to face us. Yun lang. Sa akin, meron na akong talagang reservation tungkol dyan. You know? Because I think that what he said in the Senate is enough for us to know what actually happened in the war on drugs in the former administration.
Sir, next lang po. Doon po sa Senate hearing, lumabas po si Muking. Meron po ba tayong coordination with the Senate po kung paano po siya mapapadalo po dito?
Yung OMSEC natin, we tasked them to look for booking. I don't know precisely what the communication that had been done with her, no? But since nandyan na siya, there's no stopping for us to invite her. Most likely that can be answered by the COMSEC. But a while ago when I asked him, we invited her already. So most likely darating yan. Kasi alam mo may procedure Una invitation, tapos show cause order, and then afterwards saka mo siya is-cite in contempt. But andun pa lang tayo sa show cause order.
Sir, last na lang po on my end. Ano pong message natin doon sa mga kapulisan na meron pa pong alam tungkol po dito sa mga iniimbestagahan nating issue? Given na parang ang nangyayari po is pinagmumukha ng Pangulong Duterte na siya yung knight in shining armor nila by taking the responsibility. Pero yun nga po, tulad nung sinabi ninyo kanina, hindi naman po tatayo yun sa korte.
Ilan-ilan lang naman yung I think yung sa reward system. Tapos yung sa mga patayan, yung mga nakakatanggap ng reward, well, siguro feeling guilty sila. But majority of the 220,000 strong PNP men in uniform and non-uniform, majority dyan talagang walang alam alam ko, naniniwala ako na there are certain areas that this program were initiated. So I hope that those who have knowledge about this must come out. Kasi ang pananaw ko, nagkaroon talaga ng deception na deceive tayo dun sa order. Nagkaroon ng confusion and deception. And that's the reason why somehow, siguro, masasabi natin, marami din sa mga kapulisan, ang masasabi natin, hindi nila ma-differentiate. Nagkaroon ng gray area Ito ba'y legitimate order? Pero, i-arm mo yung parang papatayin mo, parang, di ba? So, hindi klaro. Kaya, I think, ako, ang position ko, I'm not talking about the whole of the Quad Committee. Ang position ko, since nagkaroon ng confusion and deception, hindi lahat na naging involved doon are somehow 100% guilty. Nagkaroon ng, alam mo yun, na ikaw, subordinate ka, utos sa ito ng boss mo, ano gagawin mo? Susunod ka. Lalo na yan, mga PNP officials yan, PNP men and women. So, pag sinabing itong order, sundin mo. Otherwise, magkakaroon ng repercussion yon. So, may takot. Aside dun sa may deception, may confusion, may fear. Natakot sila. So, hindi total ng kapulisan ang Ako naniniwala, kakaunti lang to.
Ito, hindi ko maalala kung ito yung isa sa mga hearing namin sa Human Rights o Quadcom na to, no? Pero, nung inimbitahan namin si Colonel Patay, sapagkat for 8 months, siya ang station commander ng Batasan. More than 100 people were killed during his time. Sa kanya, okay. Pinatawag din namin yung kanyang deputy, yung major. Pinatawag din namin yung 4 na pulis. Oo. Tinanong ko sila okay, nakapatay ba kayo? Wala silang inaamin. Pero, ginamit nyo ba ang baril nyo? Ginamit nila ang baril nila. Pero hindi nila aminin na may napatay sila sapagkat marami ang bumabaril. Yun ang sabi nila. Pero may mga napatay. So, ang isang tanong diyan ganito, bakit kayo bumabaril? Bakit? Yun ang utos sa amin eh. Yun ang sabi. Yun ang utos sa amin eh. Alright? Now, tinanong namin sila, pati yung major eh. Alam niyo ba ibig sabihin ng double barrel? Hindi. Yung tukhang, alam niyo, hindi. Basta't kami, sumusunod lamang kami sa utos. Di kawawa yung mga kapulisan natin. Di ba? I mean, sa akin lang, dapat lumabas na yung ating kapulisan na talagang na ano dito eh. Nadaya dito. Katulad sabi ni Kong, deception po yan eh. Even Colonel Espinido, sinabi niya na na-deceive siya ng Director General din ng kapulisan nung araw. He was deceived. Kaya lumabas na. Ito nakakapagtaka ha. Kita nyo, ang ating Pangulo accepted full responsibility. Pero yung Director General at that time, nilaglag niya ang kanyang mga kapulisan. He did not accept full responsibility. So anong ibig sabihin nun? Di ba?
Yung sinasabi natin, yung level of knowledge, hindi kasi pantay-pantay yan eh. So, kung nando kayo sa level na mataas, tapos ito yung order, hindi mo maibaba talaga yung talaga yung order kasi ang gulo, may confusion. Tapos may hiding of the Memorandum Circular Number 16-2016, di ba? Sinabi naman nila sa Senate eh. Kaya ang ganda rin nangyari sa Senate ah. We were able to get a lot of information that can be used on the Quadcom.
Marian Enriquez from TV5.
Pero sige po, regarding the reward system, you mentioned, Kong Dan, that you wanted to, ito yung gusto niyo pa pong tignan sana. And I think you've mentioned before, baka gusto niyo rin po, invite din ba si PRRD and talk about kung paano ginasta po yung confidential and intel funds, I think worth about, higit 4 billion pesos annually.
Yes, oo. Kasi nung una, yung 2016, we were able to see yung from the time of Pinoy, then a sudden jump of the confidential fund on 2016, the first yung mula July hanggang December. So hindi ko pa nakikita yung mula 2017 to 2022 magkano yung Intel fund. But I think the members already have the copy. Ako parang hindi ko pa siya nakikita. But makita natin yung jump nung kanyang Intel fund at paano siya ginamit. Unfortunately, kasi yung Intel fund na yan, hindi siya subjected to the usual procedure of COA on liquidating, no? Usually general lang yan, ginamit mo sa katulad na namin sa ginamit sa renta ng bahay, so package deal, ang amount is ganito. So basically, pag nakakuha lang sila ng somehow na ng list ng mga pinagamitan, that's enough. Wala yung tinatawag na you have to liquidate by the issuance of certificate or issuance of the receipt, things like that. So, yun pa yung isang tinitingnan natin ngayon pagdating po dun sa Intel Fund. I think the members and the chairman will really have to talk about this Intel Fund. At I hope that makita natin yung anong tawag dito, yung daloy ng pera mula doon sa Intel Fund, papunta kay Muking, papunta kay Peter Parungo, na dinala sa Metro Bank, dinala sa BPI, dinala sa PS Bank. So yun yung sinabi ni Garma sa affidavit na pumatak yung pera kay Peter Parungo sa 3 bangko. So malaman natin dapat.
Follow up na lang po muna dun sa pick up ko pa yung kay Ate Linez Capanti kanina regarding dun kay Garma. Many would ask about the timing po ng pag-grant sa kanya medical furlough kasi especially Senate inquiry and she's invited po doon. Related po ba ito, Kong Dada, sa sinabi niyo po last Zoom press conference natin na when she talked po to you na regarding dun sa tawag ni Digong, you said she seemed scared, even mentioned about her desire to leave the country.
Yeah. Di pa nakakuha ang permit para sabihin yun Pero palagay ko merong siya. May connection doon sa pagtawag. Kasi alam mo, the best person talaga that na-answer that is si Colonel Garma. Alam mo, actually, ayoko talaga siyang pangunahan because I haven't got any authority from her yet. Kung talagang tinawagan siya, di ba? No? Pero inamin naman niya na tinawagan siya. Pero yung mga issues that was tackled, no, yun ang hindi natin ma-reveal, no. We observe also yung request, no. Ako kasi ganun kami, wanted to preserve yung trust and confidence that we will not reveal any of the information that she said na hindi naman in relation to what we are talking about. Merong mga issues na hindi naman yun ang pinag-uusapan. So let us see, mula sa susunod na hearing.
Second to last na lang, sir. You said about Grijaldo trying to get even with us. Wala na silang maibato sa Quadcom. There's a story behind this. What's the story po? Do you think na...
Well, ako, nakikita ko yung story kasi nga medyo naging something personal to kay General Bato, Senator Bato, during that time that I mentioned about yung kay Colonel Anunda tungkol dun po sa PNPA that he was assigned as a technical person ata. But yun yung medyo nababanggit ko na medyo nagiging something na gumawa sila ng paraan to get even with us. Klaro naman kasi, no? Tapos si Grijaldo pa, binabanggit nila na tao daw ni General Bato. Well, in accordance with sa kanila usapan nila yung common friend namin ni Colonel Garma. So, basically, yun ang nakikita ko na play nila to get even with us. And I hope I'm not wrong, but that is my own theory.
Sir, sorry, may pahabol lang po na clarification. Asking po si Gab, lalo ng inquirer. To clarify lang daw po, sir, nag-testify po ba si Colonel Grijaldo before the Quad Committee? Kasi sabi niya, he was harassed na parang may gustong ipa-confirm sa kanya. Pero did he testify during the previous hearings? Kasi tinanong po siya ni Senator Coco Pimentel kahapon kung may affidavit ba siya. Sabi niya, wala naman po.
Wala nga, kasi nga hindi naman siya pinag-uusapan doon sa Quadcom eh. Kasi nga ang issue lang niya, naging chief of police siya ng Mandaluyong. Doon nung mamatay si General Barayuga. That's it and that's all. Wala na kaming alam na issue about him. Until such time na si Colonel Garma asked us para i-approach si Grijaldo. Sabihin na i-confirm yung kanyang affidavit dahil kaibigan niya at kaklasmate niya. So, yun lang yung reason kaya kami lumapit sa kanya at pinatawag namin siya sa likod. Sana pala ang ginawa natin, kinausap na natin sa floor, sa ano na lang eh. Actually, doon na lang namin ginawa. Actually, nawala na rin sa isip ko kasi request na gustong kausapin namin. Pakiusap yun eh. O sige, sabi ko, sige, patawag na, nandito na naman tayo. Diba?
Sir, sorry.
Isa siya sa pinatawag namin eh. Although, hindi na namin siya natanong eh. Wala. Andun lang siya. And then later on, sinabi ni Colonel Garma, pwede bang kausapin niyo? Yun.
Ang sabi po ba ni Colonel Garma, he would know, he would confirm that what I'm saying is
Yes.
ganon.
Sinabi niya sa akin, marami siyang alam.
Oo, kasi kaibigan nga daw niya, classmate niya. And ako, na-confirm ko na classmate siya, saka kaibigan siya. Kasi nga, nung unang usap namin, bago mag-testify si Garma, andun siya sa Ascot. Sa Ascot Hotel. Doon ko sila pinatawag kasi nakikiusap sila. I think 2 beses, 3 beses silang nakikiusap sa akin na harapin sila. Ang sabi ko, hindi, doon na tayo sa hearing. Doon na tayo, kasi marami na kaming na-research na namin yung nila mga issue nila Pero meron nga daw, gusto daw umamin. So, kaya pinagbigyan namin. So, nung pinagbigyan namin, pinatawag ko si Ace. Yun na nga, that happened.
Sir, pero baka pwede lang po magpa-comment regarding nga po dito sa kinasuhan na po, nag-file na ng complaint po na, ano ba to? Trafficking kay Harry Roque, qualified human trafficking complaint po versus Harry Roque.
Well, okay, ang nag-file ata dyan, PAOK TF. PAOK. So, now it's in the court.
Hindi tayo nag-file dyan. Hindi na natin nirekomenda yan, di ba?
Hindi, wala pa kami recommendation about this. And, well, we're happy about it that the PAOK TF is really doing their job. Kasi nga, sila naman talaga rin nag-umpisa dyan sa Pogo and they have been so religiously trying to collate all the evidences and file cases against them. And at least napapadali na talaga yung trabaho namin. And since ayan, meron na, naka-hold na yung preservation assets sa Biancham. Isa sa mga company yan that was issued a preservation ni Lucas Bersamin, ni Secretary Lucas Bersamin. And with that, medyo lumuluwag na yung trabaho natin about the investigation of these companies. And true enough, yung aming ginagawa po in aid of legislation and at the same time recommending yung mga ebidensya that nakalat po namin at ibinibigay po natin sa Executive Department for their perusal. And that's our job. And maraming salamat at bumibilis po yung trabaho namin with the Executive.
Ako nga, iniisip ko ba kung bakit human trafficking eh. Di ba? Siguro, plunder pwede. O, di ba? Pero human trafficking, iniisip ko, bakit human trafficking? Di ba? Ang panawagan namin kay Tony Harry, humarap ka na sa amin. Narinig niya ako rito, humarap ka na sa amin. Di ba? I mean, kahit ang tawag mo sa amin, kangaroo court, humarap ka na sa mga kangaroos. Yun lang. Diba? Kangaroo court daw tayo.
Read the major questions, Marian. Okay, Rosalie Cas from UNTV. You're recognized.
Good afternoon po, sir. Hingi lang po ako ng categorical answer. Do you want former President Duterte to be prosecuted under RA 9851?
Well, batas po yan eh. And yun yung sinasabi natin na the law must be applied to all or none at all. So, if we can do that to a small level of our Filipino citizen, why not on the highest? I mean, prudence dictates that we need to do our job. It might be painful to others, but of course, if something is committed against the existing law of the land, then we have to face the consequences. And kung ako tatanungin mo, former president natin siya, may mga nagawa naman po siya sa ating bansa. But yun na nga, meron din mga nagawang hindi tama. But yung mga hindi tama, isusulit po natin yan. At lahat naman po ng ginagawa natin sa mundong ito, pagbabayaran po natin yung mga mali. Di ba? So I think it's just proper that the existing law, yung law ng RA 9851 must be followed and hayaan natin the will of the justice mas prevail.
Ako, sana hindi na eh. Kasi, number one, matanda na siya. Number two, he's not always feeling well. Sana hindi na. Pero, he admitted under oath sa Senate hearing, no? Sabi nga niya, I'd like to quote, sabi niya, that he alone takes full legal responsibility. Ayun lang, yung Republic Act 9851, pwede nang gamitin yung laban sa kanya eh. So, kahit na ayaw ko na siyang ma-charge pa, kasi, siyempre, former president natin siya, tulad ng sinabi ni Kong Fernandez. Marami rin siyang nagawa sa ating bayan, hindi lamang yung war on drugs. I hope na hindi na po siya litisin. I hope na wala nang mag-prosecute sa kanya. Pero wala rin kayong magagawa kung talagang meron siyang accountability. And he will be prosecuted according to law. Yun po eh.
Up lang po. Apart from him po, sino pa po yung dapat ma-prosecute under RA 9851?
Kasi kung titignan mo yung Section 10 ng Republic Act 9851, yung mga commanders, principals, that's the reason why we're giving a chance sa lahat ng mga na-involved na we all know that there was a deception, confusion, and probably hindi talaga naintindihan yung memo. So, this is your chance to be a part of this investigation. Ang problem kapag hindi po talaga, then the arm of the law, no, especially ang DOJ, kapag nag-file na po yan, hahabulin na po lahat yan. At kapag may mga nagsalita na dyan, at yun na nga nangyayari ngayon, may nagsasalita na, lumalawak po eh. Lumalawak yung mga dapat pong investigahan. But of course, kami po, ang gagawin po namin, because I think we have to wrap up also the investigation in the soonest possible time because it's election time. I think DOJ will have a much deeper, no? Magkakaroon pa lalo yan kasi hawak na namin yung yung malalim na investigasyon, din lalo pa nilang lalaliman yan. So dun napapasok yung mga iba na baka mapasama. So I think we have to remind all those had been involved in this to come out, no? Because after all, ano yan yung kakatulad nga sabi ko, naging pare-pareho tayo naging biktima dyan eh. So do your share, please.
I remember, hindi pa nagsibigay tayo ng mga dokumento sa Office ng Solicitor General, di ba? Because yun dapat namin gawin eh. So perhaps, kung pag sinabi ng DOJ, isapin namin ng mga dokumento, we will do that. Kasi sila na ang bahala kung anong gusto nilang gawin doon. No? Perhaps kung yung question mo na baka mayroon pang ibang prosecute, well, baka sabihin natin, si Senator Bato, for example, o si Director General Sinas, o yung iba dyan. Pero palagay ko, ang ituturo nila, yung higher up eh. Yung nag-utos sa kanila eh. So, ang magiging yan, papaksak din yan sa lap ng ating dating Pangulo.
Thank you. Kenneth Basilio from Business World.
Hello, magandang hapon po. So yung question ko lang about sa naging statement ng CHR kahapon na nagkaroon sila ng legal impediments pagdating sa pag-acquire ng mga files pertaining to or concerning us sa mga EG. Are we looking at possibly crafting a law that would strengthen ba yung capacity ng CHR to acquire such files? So, ayun ba?
I already filed a bill giving the CHR prosecutorial powers. Talagang the CSR can only investigate, but they cannot prosecute. Kaya sabi ko nga, bigyan natin ng ngipin ang CHR na gawin nila ang kanilang magagawa, even to prosecute those that they think are actually guilty. Yun yung bill na aking final. I think it was filed about a year ago pa eh.
And follow up lang sana ulit. Let's circle back dun sa ICC. Yung admission nga ni former President Duterte, doesn't this already make the case for the Marcos administration to coordinate nga with the tribunal? And you, Congressman Fernandez, mentioned nga na close, ayaw talaga niya sa idea na yon. Ayun. So, may mga conditions ba tayo na nakikita na magpapabago sa isip ng ating mga congressman ngayon?
Nakita ko kasi dito, Section 15, no, ng Republic Act 9851, applicability of international law. Applicability of international law in the application and interpretation of this act. Philippine courts shall be guided by the following sources. So, in other words, lahat ng mga international laws natin will be also applied dito sa mga kaso na if ever na ifa-file ng DOJ sa ating former president and others, no. But we are not discounting as well na yung ICC, di ba? They take cognizance on those crimes that were committed at sinasabi nila na they need not to cooperate with the national government. So baka by collating all the documents na nakukuha nila sa amin through sa YouTube or whatever, so baka yun yung gagamitin nila ng ICC. So we really don't know. But kung ako tatanungin mo, much better talaga we have the same position na dito na lamang po sa korte natin.
Thank you. For today's last question, may call on Red Mendoza from Manila Times.
Hi, Kong. Ako yung last. Kong Dan, first of all, may isang DDS supporter si Crisette, sinabi niya, or she's pushing her followers na wag kayo iboto sa Laguna. Kasi daw po, and well, I hope hindi kayo offend dito sa sinabi niya kasi sinabi niya mukha daw kayong Pokemon na congressman, na Jologs. Your comment lang po.
Ano ba ibig sabihin ng Pokemon? Hindi ko masyado naintindihan yun. Yung Pokemon na, na
monster.
Monster. Well, sabi naman ng nanay ko, pogi daw ako. So, well, kanya-kanyang interpretation.
Pero kung makaka-apekto po ba sa candidacy niyo sa governor itong kung sa tingin niyo po?
Well, ako I'm doing my share in delivering yung mga what I can do to the people of Laguna. And as a matter of fact, ngayong bagyo, lumuwas lang ako dahil dito po sa press con and I'm going back again doon para mag-deliver. Alam niyo po yung Laguna po ngayon, inikot ko po ang buong Laguna mula San Pedro hanggang doon po sa Mabitak, dulo ng lalawigan ng Laguna. Kalapit po kami ng Lakeshore. And majority of our people na nakatira sa Lakeshore, nakalubog pa rin po sila. So they need assistance kasi hindi sila pumupunta sa evacuation center. Dala po tayo ng dala ng mga biyaya at mga ayuda doon sa evacuation center. Pero yung mga nakalubog na hindi pumupunta, hindi nadadalan. Kaya mamaya po, pupunta po kami, lagi ko namang ginagawa yon. Mula noon pa, mayor pa ako, congressman ako. Kapag lumulubog po kami nung Ondoy, talagang doon po ako nagdadala ng mga pagkain para po mabigyan yung mga kababayan na nakatira at hindi nakakapunta sa evacuation center. Now, ang tanong kung makaka-apekto ba sa akin itong ginagawa namin. Let the people decide. Alam niyo po, ano yan eh. Yung lahat ng pagtakbo is a destiny eh. Kung manalo tayo because of what we have done right here and the people will tell us that hindi ka namin boboto because of what you have done to the former president. And then other people will tell that I will vote you because what you have done to the people of the province of Laguna. Then let it be. Let the people decide. At yung mga si Pokemon, anong pangalan niya?
Si Crisette. Crisette Chu.
Sige, kung taga Laguna siya, pumunta siya doon sa amin, makipag-usap siya sa akin para makita ko rin kung anong kagandahan niya. I mean, alam mo ito sinasabi ko, ang mga bashers, we accept that because we are living in a democratic society. Okay po yan eh. As a matter of fact, tinutulungan pa nga nila tayo eh. Dahil yung engagement natin, tumataas daw yung ating mga viewers, o yung mga bashing.
So, mas marami kong bashing kaya
pero ako sa akin, sinasabi ko, let them be. Kasi nga, ano yun eh, damdamin nila yun eh. We respect that eh. And who knows, maybe someday, makita naman nila na maganda yung ginagawa ko. Baka mamaya iba naman ang sabihin nila. Parang politika yan. Minsan, kalaban mo siya. Then suddenly, magiging kakampi mo siya. Yung mayor, minsan nag-aaway kayo. Tapos magiging bati kayo. Governor, yung congressman, yung consul. Ganun yun eh. And then yun yung process. And I hope that that lady will have delivered that statement. Basta lagi tayong peace. I love you.